All right, and welcome to another edition of the Thompson Comic Corner. I'm the host, Zach Thompson, and I am joined by two special guests today. All right, so not only do I have my favorite host with the most from the Last Comic Shop podcast, Andy Larson, here today.
Oh, you're so kind, Zach. So kind.
I also have quite possibly one of my favorite writers in comic books today, Mr. Tony Fleecs.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
very kind. Man,
See, that's the reason we're all here. Not me. We're here to talk to Tony.
this is going great
Tony's the
already.
the main event here. I'm just
Plenty of compliments to go around, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that both of you guys are here. Like, I can't thank you guys enough for joining me to just talk about good comic books.
Oh, happy to be back, man. Well, I had a good time the first time.
Yeah. So for everybody listening, we are talking about the King of Yancey Street. I probably just butchered that.
No, I think you said it right.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
we read your trade paperback that came out, I believe, 2 weeks ago. I tried to order it from my LCS. They didn't order it the first round. I had to wait. Um, I really, really, really enjoyed this book.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a great time making that book.
Yeah. Couple questions for you, Tony. So
Please.
long standing fan of the thing because I mean I've read a lot of your stuff before, and you
Yeah.
have an amazing way of bringing the heart out of a lot of your characters. But I mean the thing is so iconic in being the heart of the Marvel universe. Like
For
he's the
sure.
salt of the earth. He's the everyman. He's the Joe on the street that's willing to take the punches and stand up for the little guy. And again, putting him with a kid where he's got to protect a kid in this particular book, totally on brand
Yeah.
for the thing. But I just was curious, like big fan of like Marvel 2-in-1 from
Yeah,
back
I
in the day,
liked
or
um I feel like the most thing stuff I read the Dan Slott series when that was coming out.
okay.
I'm too young. I look old as shit, but I'm too young for two in one. I got it in like essential after, like after the fact. Um, but the Dan Slott series and then just Fantastic Four. Like I read Fantastic Four for a good chunk, and a ton of different eras of it, like the original stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Burn stuff, I read a chunk of that, and then I read it in the '90s when Sue Storm had the boob window, and then and I read Heroes Reborn, and then I read the Wade Waringo Heroes Return stuff.
Oh
Um,
lordy, thing was in a mask for most of that time that she was in the boob window. Remember he
yeah,
had that helmet that looked like a
yeah,
tray because Wolverine scratched them
yeah,
all up.
scratched on his face.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah,
was some weird stuff from Tom DeFalco back in the
and
day. But I
yeah,
dug that.
Reed had like a Liefeld gun.
Yeah,
Uh,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so I'm a Fantastic Four fan, and when they asked me to pitch the thing, it hadn't occurred to me that I would like writing the thing. Like I liked him as a character, but if you'd asked me like, to list off like 10 characters that I think I'd be good at writing, I don't think I would have said the thing. And then when I started working on it, I immediately was just like, oh, this guy's a lot like me in like all the ways, all the things that I think are like the best about myself
Hmm.
are like Ben Grimm things. And so I was able to sort of like write like my ideal version of Ben Grimm, like just all the stuff you're saying. Salt of the earth guy, everybody's buddy. He's the kind of guy that would drive you to the airport or help you move a couch or whatever. And and then I always liked his relationship with Val and with Franklin.
Hmm.
And even with like the Leach and the like the Future Foundation kids. So like the idea of this was supposed to be set in the past, like in a they called it like a evergreen sort of John Byrne Fantastic Four era
Right.
time period. And so I wasn't sure like how old Val or Franklin were supposed to be back then. And so I was just like, well, let's just give him a kid and have that be part of the story. Have a kid be around and that way you get to have that the relationship, and then also just visually, I always think it looks great to have like a big hulking rock man and then like a little, a little girl, a
Yes.
little boy.
Yeah. No. The dichotomy between those two things. Because again, the great thing about this particular series, and let me gush about it for a second, is the
Please.
fact that um, the thing is kind of like Spider-Man. in that he can be a street level character, right? Like he
Yeah.
comes from the streets, unlike Reed, who's like an intellectual and like, a cosmic space scientist or whatever. He's just this guy from Yancey Street. And so at the end of the day, like you can put him in situations where he's hanging out at local bars, talking over with like more of like your C-list villains or C-list heroes or stuff like that. But at the same time, I think what is great about this book is that you get across that he's also a member of the Fantastic Four, who are
Right.
like the defenders of Earth, even before the Avengers or whatever. They're usually the first responders when something has to happen. He's usually the bruiser that's first trying to punch Galactus. So
Yeah.
like you wheel out all these like characters like the Wrecking Crew and Grizzly shows up at one point, which is great. Um, and Bullseye, and they're just taking pot shots at the thing, and he's like, this is like I'm on a different level. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
I'm not getting mad, but like, come on, guys, I'm just trying to help this one kid. Like I don't.
It's like when an NBA player goes to play street ball like in the neighborhood, just hanging out with friends, like neighborhood folks.
It was it was tremendous. I mean that, and then you mix in the whole notion that like again, I'm guessing that the girl she's a mutant. I think
Yeah.
that's what you were kind of playing with there, and I kind of like some of that because again, mutants have always been seen in the Marvel universe as, I hate to say it, like secondhand citizens, like it's just folks that are like there to be exploited or taken advantage of or somehow subhuman or and this uncle, which again, Zach had mentioned that he was like he saw that as a swerve, like the uncle, like eventually we're not going to get into this, but the uncle ends up not being a good. I was just like, no, dude, you can tell that from Tony's writing from like second page because he
Nice.
opens the door and thing sees the guy and's like, get lost,
Nope.
turkey. Like, and it's not until he brings up his sister and he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll help you for the sister. But
Yeah.
um, I just think that's amazing, like how you were able to incorporate so many things that just seem very commonplace in the Marvel universe and just get to the heart of that. So kudos
Yeah,
to that, sir.
it was sort of a perfect setup where because they did want me to put it back in the day, I sort of had there were some characters that were either like not around yet or because I think it was like pre-Secret Wars, so like I wanted to have like Titania in there at one point,
Okay.
and they're like, well, she's not there yet, and then one point it was like I wanted Elektra, and they're like, well, she's dead right now, so it's like the more details that I would put into it the more that like Tom Brevoort could zero in on exactly what issues this took place between, because he's like
Mm-hmm.
got a computer for Marvel Universe
Oh yeah, no.
continuity. But having it set back in the day, it sort of let me, have all these characters that I could play with, and also I didn't have to worry about anything that was going on right now, and I could just do like what I thought was sort of like the heart of the character, and get right into it, and have Fantastic Four be off, out in outer space, so he could just be the star of the show.
I've gushed a little bit, but this is Zach's show. So Zach, sorry about that. I just
Oh,
needed to gush a
I
little
don't
bit.
mind, man. I was just sitting back enjoying it. Like it's fine. You actually answered one of the questions I had. I was gonna say, how did you come up with like these characters that you just threw in here? I like it. Like it's a who's who of the C-listers,
It's
and I
a
love
who's who. That's DC. This is an official handbook of the C-listers.
it.
There we
Uh,
go. There we
so
go.
I had I told you I had the essentials of two in one. Back in the early 2000s, they started putting out those official handbooks of the Marvel Universe in essential, like in the black and white phone book versions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was in comics. I had probably put out my first comic book, black and white independent comic, but I bought those thinking like, well, one day I'll need these for my work. And then for 20 years I did not. And then this thing came along and I got to take all those things off the shelf and flip through them. And I knew I knew Bullseye, and I knew Kingpin, but there were some that I was like, that I was flipping through, official handbook. Grizzly was one for sure. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh hell yeah, that'd be great to get Grizzly in there. Hate Monger was another one.
I was
Um,
surprised no Stilt Man. I was
yeah,
surprised because I would have just loved to have seen just thing just go over and just push
yeah.
him off.
Just sweep the legs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sweep the leg.
But yeah, I just basically made a big long list of all the ones that I would potentially want to use, or it was real kid in a candy store type stuff where I made a list, I sent it in, and then they wrote back and said yes, yes, no, yes, no, So then I could put them up against what would they fight the thing like. And my thing fighting style really is he just he'll fight around for a little bit and then he'll eventually get bored and either like punt somebody or throw them very far away. Like I figure like if I was him, I wouldn't be doing like jujitsu and stuff. Like I would just be
No,
like take somebody and just huck them. He's a very strong, rock man.
right. Plus he's got something to protect.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want these fights to drag out, and I think
Yeah.
that's good the way that you put it. Like he's not really there to fight anybody.
Yeah.
He in fact I was mentioning with Zach, I got a lot of vibes from this particular book with one of my favorite movies of all time, The Warriors.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Because not only did I feel like when some of the bad guys show up, they were kind of like the Thing come out and play,
Right.
but
Yeah.
just the idea of like Thing having to move from like one place in New York to another place in New York, and like just people, getting in his way.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, it's very Warriors. It has the Warriors intro, it has Turk on the radio at the very beginning. It's
yes, that
all
was the other
red.
thing.
Yeah.
Putting out the call to all the folks, hey, you want to make some money?
Yeah.
So like, I was wondering whether you were a fan of that movie
Oh, of
too.
course, yeah. Then the Warriors, they say like they call everybody boppers, but
Mm-hmm.
in this Turk calls everybody true believers, and
Yeah.
like, it's very 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 Warrior coded. The young people think that it's I think John Wick 3 they did a Warriors thing, and
Mm-hmm.
they're just like this guy's just ripping off John Wick 3, and I was like they ripped off the Warriors too. We're both ripping off the same thing.
And the Warriors is actually a ripoff of an ancient Greek story. So like,
Right.
so I mean, everything comes from somewhere, kids, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
The best ideas always have a place far, far back. So yeah.
Well, just to let it be known, I've never watched either movie, so this is my first. You guys, you're the
Oh,
original,
good.
all right, and
Good.
for me,
When
you're
you
the
see the
original.
Warriors, you'll be like, this guy ripped off Tony Fleece's The Thing
Yeah,
miniseries
dude,
from
totally. Like,
2024. Yeah.
yeah, I've never seen either movie. Now I'm gonna have to go watch both movies. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
see. I'm gonna have to see it.
Warriors is fun.
So, was the Kingpin gonna be your original baddie, regardless, the big baddie?
Yeah. Kingpin always was, because basically when they said John Byrne era Fantastic Four, I started thinking about like what else that meant for the Marvel Universe. And then I was like, well, that's also like Chris Claremont X-Men times, but it's also Frank Miller Daredevil times. And
Mhm.
so then I just thought like, well, that's cool. If we do a street level thing story, he'd be sort of like mixing it up with Daredevil villains as well, because they're all so that's where you get like Gladiator and of course Bullseye and then yeah, Kingpin being the big bad.
I like the interaction between him and Bullseye. Like they've never met before. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
it. Like
yeah,
that's
for
my
sure.
favorite part of the story.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
had fun
it's
with that.
hilarious.
I liked I like Bullseye cutting his gums with a razor blade. That was my favorite.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
So when you're doing this process, when you were doing the process of this book, like how was it working with your artist? Like did he help a lot in the story part, like when he
Yeah,
drew
it
it?
was good. Justin Mason brought like a really um like personal feel to it. Like it feels like I wrote a real personal Ben Grimm, and he really did like great emotions with Ben and with the little kid Sarah, and even like Sarah's uncle. Like he really got that guy's character right too. It was interesting because it originally was going to be drawn by Leonard Kirk, who's
Okay.
a, who's a like a OG Fantastic Four artist and uh, did a ton of great books. But he got sick after like halfway through the first issue, had like some health issues, and so he had to bail. But so the first issue was all laid out by him, and the book I think it's like he gets a special thanks, but the whole first issue was laid out by Leonard Kirk. So you sort of see in the first one like Justin working over somebody else's layout storytelling wise, and then from
Hmm.
there you see him sort of like transition into his own thing uh, throughout the other four issues. But yeah, it was great working with him. He's a really talented storyteller, a talented artist.
That's kind of neat though that you mentioned that, because I can definitely see like some in the first couple pages, especially the scenes where he's laying in the bed and then he gets
Hmm.
woken up, and like the way that whole sequence is framed when he comes to the door, that's very Leonard Kirk like.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so, and you don't see that as much in the later, so like no,
There's
it's
the
I
page
was
where he this page here where he it's like a two-page spread and he punches the gladiator or the
yeah,
gladiator punches him.
yes,
That's real Kirky, I
oh
think.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I was curious about, like, again, you're an artist yourself.
Hmm.
When you're doing these books, like, and then you have somebody else doing the art. I know that you've worked with a lot of folks. You've worked with Trish and so many folks over the years. I just Do you ever think to yourself like, this is how I would lay it out, and then then you get it and you're like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I was hesitant at first because um because when I do creator-owned comics, when I make Feral and Local Man or even Uncanny Valley, like Dave and I are pretty close friends, Dave Wachter, who drew Uncanny Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So on any of those, like if something comes along, it's like a book that I own. And so I'm always like, I'll just do a quick, like a doodle and be like, so I was thinking more something like this and just sort of, we call it kicking stuff back and forth, but
Mm-hmm.
the artist might call it like getting annoying notes from this fucking writer. But when I went to Marvel, I always remembered like listening to interviews of other like writer artists who would go start working at Marvel and how they had to sort of break themselves to doing that. Like I always remember Bendis would talk about how he used to do he did like thumbnails for Mark Bagley, and Bagley was like, "Don't ever do that." And
Yeah.
so I was hesitant to do it. And then, but then I would just like go, I would just sort of be trying to if there was something where I had a real specific vision, it would be like writing it. Trying to put it in words took so much longer that at one point I just uh, did like a post-it note on the side and like slid it to Justin um, behind the editor's back because I was just like, I don't want to be seen as like a problem. I don't want people to think that I'm like a problem creator. And then the editor, like then Justin told the editor, he's like, "Oh, Tony did the thumbnail and we got it figured out." And then he was like, "You did a thumbnail and you didn't show me." Like we all know that
Uh,
you draw comics too. You can just be a creator, and that was sort of freeing because not that I like abuse the privilege, but it is good to sort of go into these thinking like I want to make these as good as I make my creator-owned comics. And so sometimes it's just faster to communicate by doing a quick little not doing like draw it exactly like this, but just doing like, what about, I feel like this is a quicker way to get there, or this is more what I was intending, or whatever.
so
Would you
go
go ahead?
I was just going to ask, so you would not be at home at all with the true
Marvel
Marvel
style.
method?
No,
Like,
I've done that as well. I did one book like that where I just wrote plots and filled in the dialogue, and that's fun too. Like a lot of times, I mean most times I get back better than what I asked for, and on Deathstroke, and on the thing too, like like I said, uh, when Justin started doing his own thing and doing his own layouts, like he would come up with these cool little like ideas and like bits of business that I hadn't even considered. And then Carmine on Deathstroke will just do the craziest stuff that I wouldn't even know how to describe. Like he does angles like I couldn't even imagine. He's so much better than me as an artist. Um, but yeah, it works both ways. But I'm not afraid to send a little sketch if it's quicker than me writing 10 paragraphs or whatever.
right, right.
Would you be open to doing a book where you write it and you do the art, like where you do both, where you're doing
Oh,
double duty?
that's the dream. I mean, I sort of did that on Local Man. Like Tim
Yes.
Seeley and I wrote that together, and I drew half, and I drew like the 75%, and Tim drew the backup stories.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's eventually what I want to do. I don't know if there's like a world where it's possible financially for me to just write and draw my own stuff. But the dream would just to be like a Jeff Smith or a David Lapham or whatever, where you just create your own stuff and have that make your living.
Now, you have Deathstroke #1 coming out.
Yeah,
How exciting was that?
pretty
Like, you
cool.
made me excited about a character I didn't even know I'd be excited about.
That's good. Yeah, I was. I mean, I was excited in the first place. I had written one DC comic prior to this, and it was just a short story, a Bite Wing Super Pets thing that me and Mike Norton did,
Okay.
2023 or 24.
Mm-hmm.
And that was obviously like Mike Norton did Battle Pug and I did Stray Dogs, so that was sort of like a fun, like, get these guys to do the thing. But um after Local Man, that's sort of where all my DC and Marvel work came from. I always describe it as like they didn't know what to do with the guy that writes dog horror comics, like Marvel and DC weren't quite sure how to translate that into the books that they
Right.
make. But once I did a superhero thing, they were like, "Oh, this guy could do superheroes."
Yeah.
And a lot of editors read those books, and so they reached out to me about pitching a couple characters, and I was excited about that, like just because it was nice, it feels nice to be considered or thought of, like you feel like
Right.
some
Mm-hmm.
sort of recognition or validation, and so I was already pretty psyched about it. And I liked that they wanted me to come up with a new thing. The way that I make comics, the way that I do create our own stuff, and like just the way I think of stories. I don't think of myself as somebody who really fits into like a uh jump in on like issue 14 of a thing, and do a couple fill-in issues, like that. I don't think that's really my strength or would
Mm-hmm.
be a good use of my, the thing that I'm good at. But where they were like, we want you to pitch a thing, it'll be a #1, we'll start and do its own thing, and just sort of give us your pie in the sky take on a couple characters, and I did, and one of them was Deathstroke, and they really dug it, and they were like, "Oh, we can sell this in the room," and because they got to take it into, I pitch it to one editor, they got to take it to all the editors and get it approved, and then at Comic-Con, they were like, "We're gonna do this thing," in San Diego Comic-Con. I
Mm-hmm.
was excited about it then, but when they told me that it was going to be part of this next level thing, and that it was Scotty Young and Greg Rucka and Jorge Corona and Danny and like all the people, I think they've announced Jeff Lemire's doing one. Like
Yeah.
they told me some of the names that you guys don't know yet, and it was just like, oh, you want me to do one of those? Like, fuck yeah, that's
Wow.
cool. Like that's super cool. And so that's when I got super excited about it. And then that's also where I started to feel a lot of pressure too. Because before it was just like, oh, I could make a good DC comic, but then they were like,
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, they want me to make like a real good one.
It's like next level stuff.
They want me to make like a marquee DC comic. All right.
I,
So,
I
who
think
were the other characters
Hmm.
that
I
that
cannot
you
say.
pitched about?
I can't say because hopefully I'll still do them. I don't like to.
Damn.
I'm not at a place yet where I like to let stories go. So, but
okay.
the other one is a real good. I'll come back and talk to you about it 5 years from now when they finally let me do it.
I was
Uh,
curious whether or not you'd ever want to go revisit the thing again, go back to the Fantastic
Oh, I
Four
would love to.
universe.
Yeah, I would love to like pick that character up, at a different time period or something. And yeah, he's great. I still work with those editors too, and we're working on. We did an X-Men crossover thing, Omega Kids, together, and then we're working on another thing right now. But yeah, thing was super fun. I would love to go back to that.
oh, you speak of Omega Kids. Yeah, you gave me. All right, so Andy, I lied to you. I did read other X-Men books. I read those reissues.
Nice.
So,
Well, I'm just glad that I was able to educate you on who Black Tom Cassidy was before you read the Thing book.
yeah, I
Because
mean, that
up until
was.
that point, he wasn't aware of the guy with the this stick that hangs around with the Juggernaut. Uh,
Juggernaut's dead.
yeah, exactly. Juggernaut's dead. There you go. It's that was arguably one of the best issues because you got that reveal at the end of that one issue where Juggernaut comes through the wall, and
Yeah,
you're waiting for a legit threat to
yeah,
show
for
up
sure.
and like be like, okay, who's going to throw down with the thing after Bullseye? Like, but he's not going to. So like you get them, you get the Wrecking Crew, and you're just like, oh, all right, here we go, here we go.
Yeah.
These are some bruisers. These are some people, and but still, it wasn't about that. It wasn't about a knockdown, drag him out fight. And again, back to your point before, the
Yeah.
thing is just kind of this is this whole fighting thing is just collateral. It's happening on the side.
Yeah.
For
He's
him,
not trying to mess around. He
he's
just
just
wants to get
trying to
that
get
kid
this
safe.
kid back to his mom
Yeah,
or her mom. So,
for sure.
um, yeah,
Your swerve where the uncle wasn't dead, that did catch me off guard. I thought he died. I didn't think that he would sell his niece. You got me.
Yeah.
You didn't get Andy, but you got me.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, that was I wasn't sure they were gonna let me do that either. Like I felt like that was pretty dark for a character, but they it wasn't like I made,
it
Captain
fit.
America sell his niece.
It fit. It fit.
Thanks.
To be honest, like I mean, it was from the beginning. You knew this guy was bad news. You know this guy was up to no good. And again, to my point about how mutants are viewed within the overall universe, like
Right.
even somebody that was related to a mutant, like one, they would be like, well, I'm not really doing it. It's not like I'm not hurting her. I'm just like selling her powers for a little bit of
Right.
cash, and not see that is like
Yeah,
terrible. It's just like, again, I think there's some relevancy there
for
with
sure. Yeah, it's like child exploitation. It's sort of,
exactly.
and also
So
being set back, in the presumably like the 80s, you know, it also felt like kids were a lot more disposable. But like that's when kids went on milk cartons, because before they would just, kids would just disappear.
yeah,
Yeah.
So you have Feral 21 coming out too.
Hmm. Yeah, that goes on FOC at the end of early March. So we've still got a little bit of time. Got about a couple weeks before that. But yeah, the fourth arc of Feral just wrapped up. Yes, Baxter? She'll come out. Sorry, my guy's growling at me. The fourth arc of Feral just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago with issue 20. And it sort of was we're changing locations, like we're entering a new era, and 21 is a spotlight issue on one of our characters, Ghost, who's deaf, and so it's a silent issue told all from his POV.
oh,
Ooh, I
Um,
like that.
little
it's an
snake eyes
issue,
action. You get
an
a
issue
little.
21 silent issue,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. You do see, calling it out there. That's very
Uh,
cool.
so yeah, so we're doing that, and it's basically we follow Ghost as we sort of get the lay of the land in this new place, the new situation where the cats and Feral are going to be at. Um, and yeah, we're hoping that it's a big splash because we've got big plans for uh 21 through 25. This is this fifth arc of Feral, and it sort of will all culminate in this big issue 25, like extra size special anniversary issue type thing.
Can't
Uh,
wait.
Not really an anniversary. I mean, 25, I guess, an anniversary, but it'll be the 3.5 year anniversary or
Yeah.
something.
How many covers are you going to have for that one? I want to see
I
some
don't
of the
know.
homages ones for those
We've got a
for a
bunch
25th. I mean, that's huge.
for sure. Yeah, we'll definitely do our regular, three, and we'll probably do a 1 in 25 variant on my end. And then whatever else comes along. We've got a bunch for 21. A bunch of retailers have sort of jumped in because they sort of saw the vision. So they
That's
just
the
saw that.
one. That's the one with the absolute
Yeah,
Joker.
yeah, the
Yeah,
third
that's
eye
sick.
one. Yeah.
That's sick. I may or
Yeah.
may not have pre-ordered one of those.
Nice. Yeah, that was I think the first time I've ever homaged somebody who's like a friend of mine. So it's like me and Nick
That's
Agata are buddies even before he was super famous. And so it was the first time I got to do after, somebody who I'm friends with.
that's sick.
Yeah.
So we also have you also have the fourth trade paperback coming out, Pet City. That comes out March 4th.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So March is huge for Feral. It's basically uh the fourth volume comes out in trade paperback, and then we've got a dollar issue coming out for if you haven't checked it out. I mean, to save you a dollar, you can read the first issue of Feral for free on imagecomics.com. But and to save you all the money, you can read the whole thing on for free on the internet. I'm not going to tell you how, but it's all out there for free.
Oh, come on.
But yeah, for $1, you can check out the first issue if you're just like, I've heard this is cool. And if you dig it, you can get the trade paperbacks that catch you all the way up to issue 21. And then issue 21 comes out on the 25th, the week after Deathstroke, I believe. And I'm doing a bunch of signings all over the goddamn country uh, for for Deathstroke and for Feral 25. I'm gonna do Deathstroke at my local shop on Wednesday that it comes out, House of Secrets in Burbank. And then that weekend I'm gonna be in Oklahoma, I believe, at Impact Creations, and then I'm gonna do Feral 25 with Trish at Third Eye in Annapolis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I'll be all, and then right after that, I got to go to C2E2. So I'm gonna be exhausted.
That is a lot of travel. That is
Yeah.
a lot. But C2E2 is that's a fun con.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And Tim Seeley's out there. We're working on a new book together, so we'll get to hang out. And I think I'm staying an extra day with him, I believe.
Is it
Uh,
going to have something as iconic as "fuck you, Crossjack"? Because like if it does,
I hope
I
so.
gotta gush. I gotta go. My favorite scene is when it's the scene with the at the funeral where it's
Yes.
like he's trying to put his dad and like everybody's just coming up to him. Fuck you, Crossjack.
Yeah. They say nice things to his mom, and then they go to him and they say "fuck
And then
Crossjack."
there's the guy, the guy in the pickup trucks has been driving around. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm just saying this, but I actually kind of think you're kind of cool. So
You want to hear cool now? Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm glad that that scene made an impact. We
oh
love that
yes.
book. We hope to make more of it at some point, but we're doing a different thing, a 5 issue thing this year, and then hopefully after that we'll get back and do some more, figure out how to do some more local making. I got to figure out a way to do it where I don't have to draw it because that
Oh,
takes my whole life. That's the
well, it
that
was
shit is.
really good look. It was
Thank you.
really great look.
Thank you,
Honestly,
man.
that whole
Yeah,
book is the from the back to the front, the way that the backstories were incorporated with your stories. Just kudos.
we
We loved Local Man when we did it on our show. So
we it sort of was like I always think about Robert Rodriguez would talk about when he made El Mariachi. He was like, I got a school bus, I got a turtle, I got a guitar case. Like I have all these things. I can make a movie with that stuff. And that was how we sort of came up with Local Man was we had a bit of an idea, but then Tim was like, well, I can draw like this. And I was like, well, I could probably draw like this, and then we could do this together. And it really was sort of just like a real collaboration, just two buddies sitting around going like, what if what if we could do anything we wanted? And we did.
and it was brilliant.
Thanks,
It was
man.
brilliant. So.
All right. Well, I want to thank both of you guys for being here today. Like, again,
Sure.
I can't thank both of you enough.
Happy to be
And
here.
maybe we'll have to do this again. You never know.
Let's do it after Deathstroke. Let another, like arc of something come out. Maybe the first arc of Deathstroke or uh the next arc of Stray Dogs or Feral or whatever, just come. I'll come back.
All right. Yeah, we'll do it for Deathstroke because, I mean, that book, first off, the cover A looks great. Now, your cover looks good too, but cover A is
Thank you. No,
cover
yeah,
A is,
Carmine is like I said, he's a genius. He thinks of like the sort of angles that really I mean that one's a pretty obvious low angle shot, but he just looks so badass. The second issue cover
yeah.
he did, I think that went up recently, but it's just like a cool like back shot of Deathstroke like opening a cabinet to a ton of guns, it's just like he just draws the kind of cool, like action scene comics that I want to see, and I'm excited that I get to make one with him.
I even tried to talk my LCS into ordering 25 copies just so I could get
Did
your
you?
book. I tried. I tried.
They drove a hard bargain. They said, were they going to charge you for all 25?
I mean, I'd probably pay for it. I mean, at this point, why not?
Well, maybe just stay on them. I feel like the hype is going to start to build up as Lobo comes out and as Batgirl comes out, Batwoman comes out. Mine's the third one of those next level books, so maybe it'll be an absolute type situation where people will be excited
Ooh.
enough to. I mean, I don't imagine we're going to sell absolute numbers, but at least 25 at a shop. They're ordering like 100 absolute Batmans. They can get 25. That's true.
Well, I gotta say, I might have to tag in Chad when my co-host Chad when comes back because again we had to. He was very jealous that I got to talk to you, Tony. So thank you so much.
Of
Thank
course,
you
yeah.
so much, Zach, for welcoming me onto your show. It's just been a tremendous opportunities for this old guy to talk about some thing with you gentlemen. So
Yeah, this
again,
was great.
thank
And
you.
I appreciate you guys. So again, thank you guys, and thanks everybody for listening. And as I always say to everybody when I end the show, you guys have a great day and peace out, Cub Scouts.